Today I'm going to review this book. It's from the National Geographic. It's just that. National Geographic Learning. This is a global issue, which means it is something that is very important and it can be true around the world. Today's topic is health. So before this, I want you to imagine a baby is born in France and a baby is born in Congo. The two new mothers hold their babies and wish that they have a long, happy life. Will their wish come true? Not necessary. The baby in France can live until they see their grandchildren or even great-grandchildren. But the baby in Congo may not even live to adulthood. Why? There's many factors because of the why, but here are some of the most important. First of all is the outbreak and breakthroughs. Many countries spend millions of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, on health. Why? Because health is important. If there isn't health, people wouldn't live so long and they would die, and the people in their community would be lower and a lot of trouble. Like in Japan, the life expectancy is 84 years. The money they spend on health per capita is $34,000. They spend it on stroke illness, the illness stroke. In France, on average, they live 21 years. They spend $1,000 on cancer. The United States is 78 years, spending $48,100 on coronary heart disease, not corona, in case you're wondering. These are the map of the world, and you can also set the health concerns map. Red means there are 5,374 to 7,164 dollars spending on health. Orange means 4,479 to 5,373 dollars. Yellow means 3,583 to 4,478, and so on. As you can see, only United States is spending the most on health. However, why is America still doesn't have the longest lifespan, and Australia and Japan, and is recognized most as Japan, only spent not very much but not very less also on health. However, their lifespan is much longer than than United States lifespan. In case you're wondering, I'm going to tell a little bit that isn't in this book, but because of my knowledge. As you know, Japan is in the United States. They're thinking, oh, if we're letting them exercise like students going to school, they walk to school, then strangers may come and then they may be in trouble and they may get kidnapped and blah blah blah. Well, in Japan, they're thinking in a different way. They're thinking, okay, Exercise is good for you, and walking is exercise. So go ahead, go walking. That's the culture. I'm not saying about the government. So there's two differences. And as you can see, we're in Asia. We don't spend too much on it, so it's not too bad on health, but not too good on health either. The United States enjoys high lifespan. However, there is still a lot of people experience diabetes, obesity, and fat. In India, infectious disease was once the main health concern in India. Now, however, changes in Indian diet and exercise have helped a lot in heart disease that lead to cause of death. And those are just some in the country. Sometimes there's an outbreak too. And what is an outbreak? What outbreak am I talking about? I'm talking about a pandemic or an epidemic. Like there's an outbreak of a virus, which is now we experience coronavirus or SARS-CoV to some of you. As suddenly there's an outbreak. Many people have died during this pandemic and everyone is freaking out. True, for some people. However, first thing first, not in the book, I want you to calm down and maybe start reading this book too. In Africa, there is a lot of epidemic lately, and some of the epidemic are true pandemic around the world. Keeping a global village. Wow, what am I saying? You hear global, you hear village, but those two don't fit together. Village so small, global so big. There is a person named Nathan Wolf, a National Geographic emerging explorer and epidemiologist, said the whole world is now one village. What does he mean by this? He means that right now the whole world is working together like one village. Only a small amount of land, but the huge world can compare to it. They are working together like they are in a village. They are working together like there are neighborhoods. Like that. Next, I'm telling you to stopping a killer. The process of stopping a killer, in this case, coronavirus. A pandemic, I mean. Stopping a killer, what do I mean? After a pandemic happened, you cannot stop it from happening again. You cannot completely sure that it's never going to happen again and you're free to go around everywhere. No. When a pandemic starts, that same virus can expand and make another pandemic and then being low down the pandemic and then it's just an e-pandemic and then it turns into a pandemic and blah blah blah. And it's continuing this circle. Many people, especially in Africa, where internet and technology is not very popular, and they usually follow culture more than science. For example, they think earthquake is sent by the god because the god is angry. Well, in these places, it isn't very good for them when a pandemic starts. Why? Because they don't have technology. They need a lot of money, which when Africa is poor, than the rest of the world, not for many countries, not for every country. it is really hard for them to even buy a vaccine than getting it from home. So right now in the next page we're going to talk about Africa. There is a problem with Africa, and that is that it is very large. It's contained the largest desert in the country if you only count hot deserts, the Sahara Desert. However, millions of people maybe live there, and they're living in a very poor continent. I mean, vaccines are very expensive for them, and they're very poor. Now, scientists have tried to find a way to get the vaccines to be not expensive but workative. So a group of scientists have already get it out, and they're making progress. But there's one thing that it does not explain in this book, and that is how can they reach the children which needs them most. Let's continue. Have you ever heard of Sardinia? Sardinia is not a very popular country. However, it has the world record. Five of the longest life living people is here in Sardinia. Right here, there is Sardinia was formed 570 million years ago, when the continents were still taking shape and seas were warm and shallow. I kind of think that Sardinia make dinosaurs seem so young. Right here, old is a very hot, which means popular. Oldness is something children here in Sardinia want. They want to have a good life, a long life, and more. People here can reach up to 100 years old. And the place Sardinia and some of the place around it, it's called the Blue Zone. This is the name for places like Sardinia. Blue zones. The name comes from the colored pen a researcher used to mark a map of Sardinia when he wanted to indicate where an abundance of healthy centers live. In case you're wondering, then the 4 places where people live the oldest is first in Sardinia, Italia, then then Okinawa, Japan, then Nicoya, Costa Rica, and lastly Loma Linda, California. These are some strange names to me too. There is a pandemic in 1996. A Danish scientist published a study that compared the cause of death of more than 2,800 sets of identical twins. This is really sad because there's very little chance of getting a twins. But there in 1996, there are more than 2,800 twins died, which a lot of twins. Here are some of the factors that in Sardinia people live so old. First of all, a surprising finding in diet. First of all, they do many physical activity, not just sitting near the computer doing computer games and you say, I'm working. Sometimes I do that too. Why did they do so much physical activity? Well, because in Sardinia, there's no such thing as dishwashers, lawnmower. They have to do it by themselves, which make they have more healthy lifespan. Also, in their diet, there's more people eating vegetable and fruits and legumes than meat. So those are two factors that could be why they have a long lifespan. Also, that in family and community, in Sardinia, they're working very bondedly together. So when there's someone gets sick, maybe the whole neighborhood come and then one people give a tip, another people give a tip, and another, and so on. So the blue zones possess a sense of purpose. It's make people think like they have a purpose to take care of each other. Like some cares for family, some care for neighborhood, some cares for students, and blah blah blah. Also, have you ever heard of this name? Feliciano dos Santos sings songs of wellness. Maybe you haven't yet. This guy is from Africa. He is more than just a musician or a rock star. He used the song, the music, to teach things, not things like romance and philosophy and math and science, none of that. It's about washing your hands. Basically, some of it is washing your hands. Those are ways to take care of our health. Like, I only know the lyric. I didn't know the vocal. So let's see. Let's wash our hands. Let's wash our hands. For the children to stay healthy. For the uncles to stay healthy. For the mothers to stay healthy. We build latrines. That is one of the lyrics of the song. One thing that might also surprise you is that he is a National Geographic emerging explorer on a mission to advance the health of Mozambique's poor. This is where he lived, and this is where he's gonna make better. He says that I'm using my music to be the voice of people who have no voice. I think it's for people who can't speak, I think. That's what he meant. This guy is more in music than science and health and I don't know. He says that music have the magic to heal. In 1977, a civil war broke out in Mozambique. It claimed close to 1 million lives and devastated in the country's economics. And that really, the economics, we need money to price up, and just how I'm going to speak. We need money to price up the health. But however, the Mozambique's economic is broken. So that means health is broken too, and some other stuff. So he is using it to help children do simple things like washing your hands, doing things. Also, there's an activity that you could do if you can after this lockdown, maybe, or you could do it in a club online. It's put on a health fair. You can also do it yourself if you want. A health fair is an event that includes displays that demonstrate about good health habits like washing your hands, doing activities, not sitting on the computer too long, eat vegetables, and blah blah blah. Like, for example, students in Florida doing jumping jacks as part of an exercise campaign. As I just said, there's many things you could do, and you could like exercise first for little ones to copy you. Thank you for listening to my review about health.